Yo, 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 what's up, people? We is back. Another day on Keep It G News. And today we're in New York to talk about a wild, crazy situation. And I said it a lot, man. I think this, to be honest, I'm keeping it real. I think this might be the wildest story I done covered, Because in the last video I did when I talked about the situation in Malibu where you had that couple that manipulated this lonely man for $65 million. That's kind of common. Even though I don't respect it because I don't think you should ever be taking advantage of another person. But we all know, I didn't cover these stories that people would do anything for money. In this story right here, it's involving the mob. It's involving the Bloods. And this is not a situation where you normally see blood gangs and the mob link up. Because for years, the mob didn't like black people. At least that's what I always thought. But in this situation, they linked up, so something wild and crazy went down. And this story is about greed. It's about envy. It's about entitlement. Definitely entitlement. So, I ain't gonna keep wrapping y'all up, man. I'm gonna introduce y'all to Anthony ZOTTOLA.
Sounded like a Hollywood movie, but this was very much real life. The victim in this case was Sylvester ZOTTOLA, known as Sally Daz. He was a successful Bronx businessman. He used to rent video machines to bars around the city. Prosecutors said he was connected to the Bonanno organized crime family. His family said he was a good person, he didn't deserve to die. And now tonight, his youngest son, Anthony ZOTTOLA, convicted on all counts in this sensational trial. Let me show you the graphic. Guilty, conspiracy to commit murder. Guilty, murder for hire. Guilty, discharging of a firearm, even though he didn't pull the trigger. And guilty for causing death with a firearm and causing serious physical injury to his brother Salvatore, who survived 5 gunshots back in July 2018. He was here for the verdict. It has been a sensational case, as I mentioned. Let me show you the second graphic, the second guilty verdict, Hyman Ross. He is a Bloods gang member. Now, prosecutors convinced the jury that Anthony ZOTTOLA did indeed hire the Bloods gang to kill his father and try to kill his brother. Hyman Ross also guilty on all counts. Prosecutors said that he was the shooter in both cases, in Sylvester ZOTTOLA's shooting, his murder, and also in the attempted murder of Salvatore. Now, one of the big things to come out today, the last person on trial, actually the first person who we heard a verdict on, he was found not guilty, Alfred Lopez, on all counts. He was the alleged getaway driver, but the jury didn't feel there was enough evidence, and we actually caught up with Lopez just before 5 o'clock as he left a free man for the first time in more than 3 years. Were you surprised at the verdict?
Yes, very surprised. But I did my legal research the whole time, so I knew what I was expecting.
And did you get hope when you heard the jury kept questioning about your role?
Yes, I had hope, but I was confident the whole time. I was confident the whole time.
When did you go to prison?
In 2017, in July, 2019, July, 2019.
Okay, so you've been in prison over 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like to be out breathing fresh air tonight?
Feels great. Feels great.
Now, Lopez said the first thing that he wanted to do was to go visit his mother, and then he wants to get a job. Let me just talk a little bit about this case. It went on for more than 6 weeks, and there were scores of text messages that were shown to the jury, surveillance videos that showed the Bloods members stalking Sylvester ZOTTOLA and his son Salvatore. They tried for more than a year to kill both of them. They didn't succeed until Sylvester ZOTTOLA was gunned down at the McDonald's on Webster Avenue in the Bronx on October 4th, 2018. We got reaction from Salvatore, the other son, and the sister Debbie.
Your father was a good man, that's all I have to say.
Was it hard to see your brother convicted of this?
It's never easy.
Oh, it's a sad day, obviously.
It's a very sad day.
You give support to your brother Anthony?
I give support to both of my brothers. And just remember my father as a good guy, not a good fella, a wise man, not a wise guy.
We're very thankful for the jury's hard work and their verdict. Mr. Lopez is extremely happy, and we thank the judge, everybody, for a really thoughtful trial.
Well, the last person that you heard from was John Burke, the defense attorney for Alfred Lopez, the only person to be found not guilty on all counts in this murder-for-hire trial. We were there for the verdict, and Alfred Lopez wiped away tears from his eyes when he was found not guilty on all counts. The other two men went back into a prison cell, and they are supposed to be
Now, that was
sentenced.
Anthony ZOTTOLA and his co-defendants, the blood members, getting convicted of first-degree murder for killing Anthony ZOTTOLA's father, Sylvester. That's wild, right? Like, yo, I don't know what the world is coming to where you got kids willing to kill their father for money. I mean, I know it happened, but I'm a firm believer, like I said before in the other video, man, it got to be a certain threshold that you're not willing to cross when it comes down to making money and retaining money. So if you hang around people and you see this, because it's visible, when a person will do anything for money, man, I advise you to separate from them type of people, man, because if you ever get to a point where you got a lot of it and they still in the position they in, them same people that was broke with you will try to take from you. Now, in this situation, it's not that, but even still, this might be worse because you're talking about a child that killed his father because he wanted his money. Now, in that news video, y'all know how the news do, that was just them getting found guilty. Now, the details of this case is wild. A power-hungry Brooklyn mobster has been found guilty of orchestrating a plot to kill his mob boss father and older brother. Prosecutors claim in an 8-week-long trial, Anthony ZOTTOLA, 44, colluded with blood gang members and hired a hitman to carry out the murder of his father, Sylvester ZOTTOLA, 71, in an attempt to take over his $45 million real estate empire. He was also accused of trying to take out his older brother, Salvatore, who survived a shooting to the head just a few months earlier. Federal prosecutors have said the younger ZOTTOLA is a power-hungry and ruthless man who joked with blood gang members Brashawn Shell Shelton after he and his associates successfully killed his father for $200,000 in October 2018. Anthony was found guilty by a jury in Brooklyn federal court on Wednesday for Sylvester's 2018 murder at a Bronx McDonald's drive-thru. His co-defendant, 36-year-old hitman Hyman Ross, was also found guilty of carrying out the shooting, while a third co-defendant, Alfred Lopez, the accused getaway driver, was acquitted of all charges. Over the course of more than a year, the elderly victim, Sylvester ZOTTOLA, was stalked, beaten, and stabbed, never knowing who was orchestrating the attacks, U.S. Attorney Breon Pierce said in a statement. It was his own son, who was so determined to control the family's lucrative real estate business that he hired a gang of hitmen to murder his father. For sentencing his father to a violent death, Anthony ZOTTOLA and his co-defendants will spend the rest of their lives in prison, where they belong, as a result of today's verdict. ZOTTOLA's attorney have tried to paint the October 2018 killing as a result of the mob ties. They point to how Sylvester, who was known by gang members as Sally Days, allegedly ran an illegal poker video machine operation, with Anthony's attorney, Henry Masaryk, claiming in closing arguments. Sylvester ZOTTOLA knew his whole life could one day come home to roost. Gangsters smell cash and they go after it. Sylvester, a reputed associate of the Lucy's Bohannon crime family, had just ordered a medium coffee from a Bronx McDonald's when bullets struck him in his head, chest, and shoulders on October 4, 2018. Surveillance footage from his untimely death showed his maroon Acura rolling forward slowly in the intermediate aftermath of the shooting, before crashing into a wall of the McDonald's. Several individuals could be seen running up to the driver's side window and peering in before running away. Within 2 minutes, police who appeared to be NYCD park enforcement officers responded to the scene, which is across the street from the Bronx Claremont Park. The cops are seen checking Sylvester for signs of life and making radio calls for backup, but the Asian mobster was beyond saving. Other chilling images show the blood-stained interior of Sylvester's Acura and his shell casing found on the ground at the scene of the shooting. In the initial aftermath of the shooting, NYPD investigators explored the possibility that the Albanian gangsters had carried out the murder in a bid to take control of ZOTTOLA's joke poker, video gambling dens, in the city's bars. But in June 2019, prosecutors unsealed an indictment charging Anthony with hiring Shelton to carry out the murders. They alleged that Shelton then subcontracted other blood members to carry out the October 2018 murder, as well as a failed attempt on the life of Sylvester's other brother Salvatore in July 2018. The indictment pointed to the coded messages with Shelton in which Anthony is allegedly referred to the planned murder as the filming and the final scene, with his father as the actor and the hitman as the director. It alleged that Anthony paid off Shelton with $200,000 in cash and a hidden box of waters, texted him 3 days after the murder. "Did you drink the water? Was it the right one?" Shelton allegedly responded, "Definitely was the right one, thanks. I was able to water the plants and get some of them squared away." And just moments after the shooting, prosecutors claimed in the court Anthony joked about the slaying and asserts a text message with Shelton. The Bloods gang member asked him, "Can we party today or tomorrow?" To which Anthony replied, "Tomorrow, it's my little man's birthday. I'm taking him to his favorite place, McDonald's, then to a movie. LOL, like I eat that stuff." Shelton then texted back that it was like Anthony's birthday that day. Assistant U.S. Attorney Devon Lash alleged. Sylvester and Salvatore had actually survived multiple bungling assassination attempts that were allegedly part of the plot before Sylvester was finally murdered. In court, confessed Blood hitman Ron Caby, 32, testified his 6 failed attempts to murder the father and son. The first attack on Sylvester's life came in September 2017 when a man approached him outside his Bronx home and knocked him down with a punch to the face, the New York Times reports. That November, someone tried to shoot at the mobster as he drove on the Thorns Neck Expressway, and 2 days after Christmas, men lurking outside his home stabbed him in the neck. In the last attempt in the summer of 2018, Caby approached Sylvester on the street near one of the mobster's properties in the Bronx, but ran off after Sylvester pulled out a pistol and fired at him. Caby was spotted later disposing of the gun and was arrested in Manhattan Taxi Depot after bailing out of the car that he was riding in that was being pursued by NYPD officers. While in prison, Caby testified he saw a news report about a shooting attempt on Salvatore in July 2018 and soon learned from a criminal associate who helped introduce him to Shelton that he was to receive $25,000 for each murder he committed on the family, while Shelton only had promised Caby $10,000. He soon began cooperating with authorities and pleaded guilty to the murder for hire plot, but his cooperation came too late to stop Ross, another Bloods gang member, from eventually pulling the trigger in an attack that successfully killed Sylvester, prosecutors say. Salvatore, who survived being shot in front of his home in July 2018, had also testified at the trial. In his testimony, the older brother recounted the shooting he and his father had experienced. He said his first bullet struck him didn't hurt as bad as he thought it would. "The first shot, when it hit me, it was more of just a pushback to the van," Salvatore recounted. "When I was shot in the back, that hurt. Then I got shot in the head, that hurt." Salvatore also testified that his father had a sprawling real estate empire that drew in more than $1 million per year in rental income. But in court on Wednesday, the New York Post reports Salvatore stood by his sister-in-law's side as she sobbed after hearing that her husband was found guilty on all counts. Anthony hung his head in shame, and the Post reports, as his wife, Heidi, sobbed so loudly that the court officer had to clear the courtroom. She emerged moments later being confronted by Salvatore, even though he had testified against his brother. Their sister, Debbie ZOTTOLA, meanwhile said she felt heartbroken after hearing the verdict. "I remember my brother for the man that he was. I remember my father for the man that he was. I was looking at both my brothers during the verdict," she said. "What I felt was heartbreak." My bad, y'all. I should have warned y'all. Them pictures was graphic. But I had to give it to y'all that way so y'all can understand what we dealing with right here, man. We talking about a son that attempted to get his father, well, end up getting his father killed, but attempted to get his brother killed over 6 times. Like, imagine that. If he would have used that persistence that he did in trying to get his family members murdered and put that into something more positive and applied that to some type of work ethic, we wouldn't even be sitting here having this conversation right now, man. Straight up, y'all. And none of these things would have ever came into fruition if Shelton didn't try to scheme and short Caby on the money. Did y'all hear that part in the article where Caby was already locked up and he wasn't going to testify until they talked to a mutual acquaintance that told him that, like, yo, man, we was getting $25,000 for this hit, and he only got 10. Straight up, yo. Like I say, I think this is one of the wildest situations that I ever covered, man. And look what happened, man. This man got life in prison. His father is dead. His brother probably never speak to him again. You know, he was on the stand. He couldn't believe that he put his family through this type of trauma. And he's still not going to get the money because he lost. And did y'all see how in court, how they broke down them conversations? Because they were speaking in codes. But that just lets you know, man, even when you speak in code, they can make it out to be whatever they want it to be once they get to court. All they got to do is convince the jury that that's what it is and that's what it says. But I want to know, how do y'all feel about this situation, man? What lines aren't you willing to cross when it comes down to money? Because as we see, it's some people out here that's willing to do anything for it. So make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. Definitely subscribe. Definitely
I'm probably
share.
gonna die if I lead a clan. You got your turn and you turned your back. You turned around, ain't no turning back. I can't be the boss and no us and that. I'm bringing bow and I'm bipping with 2 times. I bought the drink and the kid got a coupon. Make 20,000 a neck on a futon. Sitting out cause my brother in Jumon. Why you telling people you selling fentanyl? Why you telling feds you selling shit at all? Why you telling cops if you about to get it all? I'ma tell you nothing, I'm already squeezing. You be dreaming about your dreams. I be living out my nightmares. I been missing, I been bed. The other night she was right there. I be lurking with my bros. I be crying with my mom. She be praying to the Lord that I don't turn into a monster. You be dreaming about your dreams. I be living out my nightmares. I been missing Kevin Bay.